I I based my my intention for making this movie uh, almost entirely through my study of The Exorcist. Um, and The Exorcist, if someone says that that it's an evil movie, I would argue that it's a movie about faith, and it's about a priest that is who's lost his faith and is seeking it back, and eventually gains it through an act of sacrifice and
Yeah,
pure
100%.
pure unselfishness.
Yep.
And to me, what that tells me is that the devil's in is in all of us, right? And so is the unselfish. Uh, I guess you could call it. I guess you could call it divine nature. There, where we might find ourselves in moments where we would sacrifice our well-being for another person, even a stranger. Like it's I've seen it. It's happened many times. And what is it? What's that force that drives us to do that? And what even me, caregiving my parents, I couldn't leave them, right? And there's just something about there's something in our nature that is inherently good, but there's so many other things that are inherently evil.
Yep.
There isn't anything evil outside of humans. Like everything in nature is just nature. Once we start perceiving reality as a human, then we start categorizing as this is evil, this is good. But that's I think that's what this movie does, and that's what The Exorcist does. It 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 holds a mirror up to who you are, and what are the demons or shadows that are looking inside you that you may be repressing or denying or totally unaware of.
I go
So,
one step further and say that I think that Exorcist is actually the most pro-Catholic movie made of all time. And whenever I say that to people, they give me a little bit of a reaction. And I think the problem with the reputation of the film is that they think about the head spinning and the pea soup vomit and all that stuff. But like you said, the movie's about Father Karras. It's about the priest. It's about him and him finding his way back to God and at the end doing this sacrificial act for the love of another person. People forget that the word love actually means to wish the will of a good will upon the other person. And what he did is essentially an act of love. And that's so in a kind of strange way, it's almost kind of like a love story too, even though that is strange to say when it's talked about the Exorcist, but the ultimate sacrifice. I mean, it's funny we're talking about this just after Easter as well, is the what Christ did on the cross, and that's an ultimate act of love as well. And I think that permeates through a lot of these kind of films that deal with kind of Catholicism and such. Speaking of which,
do you think
your
Undertone
go ahead.
a pro-Catholic movie?
I wrote down in my review that I think Undertone is the closest thing that we've seen to a spiritual successor to The Exorcist. I actually wrote that down in the
Oh,
movie.
great, great.
And one of the big reasons why I wrote that down is that I believe the movie actually deals with the theme of faith, but faith through different kind of context in regards to Evie is seems to me like kind of like a soul kind of like stuck in purgatory. She's stuck between the version of what she grew up was with and the version that she turned into. And now those two versions have to come to a collision during this moment in her life. And it's something that I can really actually relate to because much like yourself, my parents and myself, we were caretakers for my older sister. She had a car accident back in 1991. She was physically and mentally disabled. She unfortunately, God bless her, she passed away January last year. Just all of a sudden just passed away. But we were caretaker for her for 30, 40 years or so. I mean, for a very long time. And on one end, there's an emotional toll that comes with that, mental tolls that come with that as well. Because to look after someone who is so vulnerable, it's something that can just take it could leave an impact on you. But at the same time, I think doing something like that kind of enriches the soul in the way that you are sacrificing your time and your being and other things to help this person that needs your help, and they're your family as well. And I think what Evie's doing in the movie is the ultimate is just that. She's giving herself. I mean, there's many could be many movies where people might just put a person, that's on their deathbed on palliative care or whatever, but she takes her mum home. She takes care of her mum in the home. She feeds her. She takes to her. She changes her when needs to be changed. I've been through situations like that, and I think that the sacrifice and that she shows and what is something that's incredibly spiritually rich and something that has been embedded in her when she was younger. I know the Catholicism in her film can lead to a lot of things regarding guilt and such, but I think it gave her a rich character as well, a rich moral center as well in the movie. That's something that I took from it anyway. Thank you for watching the Matt's Movie Reviews channel. Please subscribe for more reviews, podcast interviews, and exclusive content.